If you're a Christian single woman and you're trying to decipher who God wants you to marry one day, one of the most important things God will do is actually empower this man to prove to you that he's actually God's choice for you. How will that look biblically? In this video, we're going to talk about 3 biblical marks that God will use to help a man prove that he is your future husband. Also, did you know that I have a whole website and a weekly email list that has over 75,000 other people on it, and I send out my weekly articles and videos, and for everyone who wants to join that list, I'm giving a free PDF copy of my most popular book called The One: How to Know and Trust God's Sovereign Plan for Your Future Marriage. To get this free PDF book and to join the email list, click the link in the description of this video. Number 1, your future husband will prove that he is God's choice for you by doing what will work to win your heart. The simplest way to know God's will from the sovereign perspective is to simply look around at what is happening. Psalm 135 verse 6, whatever the Lord pleases, he does, in heaven and on earth, in the seas and all deeps. There's a lot that could be said and has been said when it comes to the interplay of God's sovereignty and man's responsibility, or his free will, so to speak. But before we get down that rabbit hole too deeply, we need to remember the basic biblical truths that start with God's power to accomplish God's will. Ephesians 1:11 says that God's going to produce the will that he's predestined to occur. That shouldn't negate our responsibility to follow his plan with our words and actions, but it must also give us the confidence to know that, yes, we will do things with our free will, but God's sovereignty reigns over everything to produce the will that he wants to produce. When we apply these principles to this topic of your future husband, proving that he's God's choice for you, we can say that this man will be directed by God to say and do the exact right things at the exact right time, so your heart wants to be this man's future wife. Now, just because you want to be with a man does not mean he's your future husband. However, if you never want to be with a man, that is a sign he's definitely not your future husband. So the first way this man will prove he's the one to you is by being the guy you would want to marry. Number 2, this man will prove he's your future husband by being willing to risk getting hurt by you rather than looking for a guarantee that everything's gonna be perfect. Some people are so afraid to get hurt that they're never going to be able to truly love. For real love to take place, we have to also accept the real possibility that pain occurs. As C.S. Lewis wrote, to love at all is to be vulnerable. Love anything in your heart will be wrong and possibly broken. If you want to make sure of keeping it intact, you must give it to no one, not even an animal. Wrap it carefully round with little hobbies and little luxuries. Avoid all entanglements. Lock it up safe in the casket or coffin of your selfishness. But in that casket, safe, dark, motionless, airless, it will change. It will not be broken. It will become unbreakable, impenetrable, irredeemable. To love is to be vulnerable. Therefore, when a man is showing that he's your future husband, he's also going to risk knowing that you could hurt him. He's going to risk in the beginning that you could reject him. He's going to risk through the dating relationship that he might get his hopes up and this might not turn out well. He's going to risk committing to you in marriage one day, knowing that with free will, you could change into a different person and it could be a very difficult marriage. But if he loves you, he's going to be willing to take those risks, just like you will be able and willing to take those risks with him. When God made us, he made us free. He knew there could be no guarantee making us obey him because that would rob us of the essential quality for true love, which is choice. Likewise, if a man needs a guarantee that he will never get hurt by you, he's not ready for true love. None of us can offer that type of security. Love is always a risk. If he can't handle that truth, it means he's not ready to be your husband. And number 3, this man will prove he's your future husband because you both both will complement each other's lives rather than needing to change each other so much. Compromise certainly will always be a part of a healthy relationship. But as Christians, there's always going to be this dividing line of I'm never going to change certain parts about me, like my love for God, my beliefs that I know are biblical, and these core parts of being a Christian. So whenever a relationship comes between us and our relationship with Jesus, we always choose Jesus. Now, sometimes when we imagine this type of situation, we think of sin. And that's certainly right, because of course that will cause a dividing line if a relationship's leading you into sin. But we shouldn't forget that sometimes a man and woman are just headed in two different directions, and both of them are following the Lord, but God just has a different passion that He's given them, a different mission. When two people are on different paths, God doesn't want to pair them together. Rather, when God really pairs you together, you will feel like you're on two paths for a while, and then over time you will realize that those paths converge and they're actually becoming one. When this man looks at you, he will know you are the helper God designed specifically for him, just as He made Eve specifically for Adam. And don't forget to click the link in the description of this video to get a free PDF copy of my book, The One.